Hey guys, so I want to go ahead and show you how to input your first listing. Okay, so congratulations for getting your first listing. Let's show you how to input that listing and get it done right. A few housekeeping things that you're going to want to know before you input your listing. You do not want to start inputting a listing until you are ready to go live that day. What do I mean by that? That means that you have all the information that you need for the property to input, right? Which some of that is the pictures. So you're going to want to have your professional pictures or the pictures that you took ready. Everything must be ready for the day that you input your listing into the MLS. The reason I tell you that is because the minute you start doing your listing in the MLS, okay, although it allows you to save it as an incomplete listing, meaning that you can start the listing today and say, oh, well, I'm not really ready. I'm going to go take pictures a day or two from now and I'll get it all done. But the minute you save it as incomplete, it starts your clock on the MLS, meaning that let's say you start your listing today, you decide that you don't have everything you need, you wait a couple of days, you finally get it all in there, and then you finally put it active on the MLS, it'll show that it's been on the market for 3 days because you started it 3 days ago. So please, please, please be ready to input all of your information the day that your listing is going to go live. That's the first thing you need to know. Don't screw that up because you don't want to waste any days. Your first day on the MLS is the day that you have the most power and the most leverage, and you do not want to lose your first day. Okay, so I want to get that right off the other thing is that you are not able to add a listing into the MLS until you have taken something called the add edit class. Okay, so I have my website here pulled up, jointdp.com/MLS. Okay, so jointdp.com/MLS, you'll see that there's this button here, and then it'll take you to these MLS required classes. The one that you have to take prior to you uploading a listing is called the MLS adding and editing listings. This one right here. It'll take you about 30-45 minutes. It's free, it's online, but you cannot actually upload a listing until you do that. Okay, so that's that. All right, guys, let me show you how to do this thing on the MLS. So let's go to the MLS. You have your listing, you're ready to go, you got your pictures ready, you know, your descriptions. And by the way, you're supposed to have measurements of at least the living room, the kitchen, and the master bedroom. Okay, so there'll be a section in the listing where you actually have to have measurements of the room. So prior to so when you're at the property, let's say taking the pictures, or even at the listing presentation before you get the listing signed, you might want to do some measurements. I personally have a laser measurer that I bought. You can buy one for like 30 bucks. It's really cool. It's just a laser you put on the walls. Although those measurements don't have to be accurate, I myself sometimes forget. So if you by chance forgot to get those measurements, you know, just do your best guessing in there. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they have to look at the measurements themselves before they buy. I mean, in a lot of listings, you'll see in the realtor remarks that the agent will write all measurements should be independently verified. That's another way to cover your butt. Okay, but just letting you know in advance, the one thing that most people will forget is the fact that you need to have measurements of the master bedroom, the kitchen, and the living room. Those are the 3 required measurements. Some people do all the rooms, but that's something you'll need to have. Okay, so now we are in the MLS here. We go to add edit. Okay, we click add edit. Okay, and I select add new. Okay, so I'm going to add this new. Put it right here, add new. All right, so I click add new listing, and most of you guys will be doing residential, so you'll go ahead and add that. Okay, so you go in here and it actually will look up the property for you. So you can put it in the street name. Let's say we put my house. Okay, so let's do 2316 Marlboro. Okay, and then we search. The property, and you'll see there's a little link over here. So it'll fill this in, and it'll put all the address information and all the stuff it pulls from public records. So I'm gonna press fill, And bam, now it takes me to the main screen. There's some stuff here you can read, but I'll just go through this kind of quickly for you. But you'll see that there's tabs on the very top, and all you do is you just go through each tab and you fill in all the information that's required. The MLS makes it real easy for you. It actually has the stuff that you need that's definitely something required, has it filled in yellow. So everything that is in yellow here is a must. You must have those things in here, okay? You must have obviously the address, the type of listing that it is. So this would be, most of you guys will be doing an exclusive right to sell listing. The list date will be the date that it's going to go live on the market, which is today, May 4th. You'll do the list price, let's say 330,000, and then the date that the listing expires, right? So it'll be usually 6 months from now. Whatever you signed on the listing agreement will be that date. So let's just put 5/31/2021. Okay, that's a year, but whatever. I'm just trying to show you this. Okay, special sale provision. So as long as it's not a foreclosure, bank owned, short sale, whatever, you would click none. Listing service type, we put full service. And you don't really have to fill in the ones that aren't in yellow. So I'm moving down, floors, 1 story, and then you move down. And if I would suggest that you put the schools in there and things like that. So try to be as thorough as possible. But for right now, we're just going to kind of move through it. And then it starts going to the pool and the exterior. Does it have a pool? Mine does not. No. So when you put no, you don't have to fill in these things. Property style, single family residence. Obviously, if it's a townhouse, if it's a condo, mobile home, you put the right one in here. Front exposure, that's basically, where does the front of the house face? In my property actually faces east. So I'll put that there. It's not a new construction. I'll put no. And then you'll see, there's a lot of different things down here that you don't, necessarily have to fill in. But what I say when it comes to stuff like this, a lot of this stuff doesn't help you sell the home. A lot of agents are going to want to, almost every buyer is going to want to look at the home. They're not going to take, what you put in here as, as verified truth. So if you are unsure about something, I would just not put it in there, right? So like, for instance, architectural style. If you don't know whether this is a contemporary, a courtyard, a craftsman, a Dutch provincial, just leave it out. I mean, I don't even know what that means to some people. And half of those things, I don't even know what they mean, right? So, vegetation, bamboo, a lot of those things don't help, right? But there are things that they must know. So this is what I focus on the ones in yellow that must happen, right? So foundation, mine has a crawl space. So I'll do a crawl space, right? A lot of properties slab. So there'll be actual, concrete slab. Mine is actually lifted up above the ground. There's a crawl space under it. A lot of downtown Orlando homes are like that. Mine's a crawl space. So I'll put that, what kind of construction, whether yours is block or wood frame, whatever the case may be, the kind of roof that it is. And then any exterior features that you think that that would be good, right? So all the ones in yellow, once again, are required. Garage, yes, I have a garage. Carport, no. Attached garage, yes. You can put, you can get as specific as you want on this, okay? So you just keep going down, filling in what you need to fill in. Some of the stuff like this will be filled in. Does it have an additional parcel on my property? No. Once again, I'm looking at all the yellow ones that it's asking to fill in. Flood zone. So flood zone, you can actually find in Realist, which is one of the tools that you'll see in your dashboard here. So you can actually go into Realist and find out what your flood zone is in there and put it in there if it doesn't automatically populate in there. Total acreage, you put in there, is it homesteaded? My property is homesteaded, meaning that it's my primary residence and I have a homestead exemption on it. So I would put yes for that. Does it have a CDD, which is an extra fee, community development fee? Mine doesn't, so I put no. So we go through all of these, okay? If you have questions on it, you can ask. I don't want to go through an entire thing with you guys, but I do want to show you a couple of things, okay? So you go through the interior, you go through the rooms. You know, once again, you need to have the kitchen, the master bedroom, and the living room. So I would go in here and actually put the like, let's say the kitchen, you know, room level is at first floor, yes. And then I would put the dimensions, let's say 10 by 15, and then the floor type. And then when you want to add more, if you go over here, you want to add more, I click more. And now you can add the living room and the master bedroom, okay? So you just keep going through all this stuff. If at any point, okay, let's say you get finished through this whole thing, okay, and you want to know whether you missed anything, if you press, well, first of all, if you don't, I would save as incomplete multiple times throughout this process, because if you open up some new tab, you don't want to lose any of your information. So as you go through each tab, I would say save as incomplete, okay? And just keep saving it just to make sure you don't lose information. Now, if you want to know whether you missed information and you press validate, it'll tell you all the places that you've missed information. So if I press validate right now, you see where all these exclamation points are? This is where it's telling me, hey, you got missing information here. So that's required, right? So if I go to interior, bam, I'm missing this fireplace, yes or no. I'm missing this one here. It'll tell you all that. So you guys don't have to worry, did I fill it all in? Did it not? No, MLS is so nice to us. It's telling us what we need to do and where we need to fill in the stuff, okay? So that's important. And then finally, I'm going to take you to this Realtor tab, which is kind of the one at the very end, but one of the ones that's the most important. So I want to make sure you guys get this right, okay? This is really, really important, okay? So financing available. So this is the section where you tell them what kind of financing we're willing to accept. Assuming that your property is a single family residence that's in decent shape, okay, you should be accepting all types of financing. And when I say all types, it's the main four, right? Cash, conventional, FHA, and VA. Okay, now if you know that this property is in a rural area and they accept USDA loans, look that up. USDA loans are awesome. They're 100% loans. You can click USDA loan, but for the most part, these are the main four. Now, there will be some situations where you have a property such as a condominium. So condominiums oftentimes are not FHA and VA approved, meaning that banks will not finance them with FHA or VA loans. Find that out prior to listing a condominium, because if it is, then that's great for you. That's more options for a buyer. If it isn't, then you want to unclick FHA and VA, because you're going to get some inexperienced agents that are going to make you an offer. And if you're inexperienced and don't know that it's not actually FHA, VA approved condo, then you could get through an entire a transaction just to find out that this thing blew up at the end because the financing didn't go through. I don't want that to happen to you. In this case, it's a traditional single family. I think we should accept cash, conventional, FHA, and VA. So that's what you'll click. Realtor information. For the most part, I don't do much here. You know, you can click these. I usually don't click anything here. You know, if for some reason, you know, you don't have a sign in front of the house, you could put like no sign. But all this other stuff like owner motivated, I would never click that. Okay, never put that in a description, never click something like that. All you're telling is the buyer, offer me less, because the owner's motivated. So don't click anything here per se. Okay, same thing here, realtor information confidential. So this only goes to the realtors, by the way. So realtors can only see this information here. In foreclosure, pre-foreclosure. If it's in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, I'm pretty sure you have to disclose that. So, you know, maybe you click that, but most of you guys won't have that situation. So you're good to go. Okay. So nothing really to do here. Okay. Over here, disclosures. Once again, I don't do much here. You know, most people are going to expect that I'm going to have a seller's property disclosure. That's any good agent is going to have their seller sign a seller's property disclosure. I don't need to necessarily tell them that I have it. So once again, I don't do much here. You know, same thing, HOA disclosure. I can just attach that as an attachment document to this listing, and I'll show you how to do that. and they'll see it. So if you want to do that, if you want to put seller's disclosure, HOA disclosure, that's fine. Condominium disclosure available. You can do that. Not necessary. Okay. So all my information is here. Here's where you can put a second listing agent if there is, but it already has information here. Okay. So scrolling down, we start getting to some important steps. Okay. Here is where we fill in what we're willing to pay the buyer's agent. Okay. Sometimes you guys will mess up and put like 6% in here, and you don't want to put that in here. You want to put percent or whatever you're offering the buyer's agent who's going to bring you a client. So in my case, I usually offer them 3%. Okay. So you have to put the percentage simple. If you put a symbol, if you put 3, it's $3. Okay. So put 3%, 3%, and 3%. So I don't care who it is, a single agent, a non-representative agent, or a transaction broker. I'm going to offer them 3%. I don't care. I want to pay people good. Here's what it is. So put 3% in all 3 of these. Dual or variable compensation, I put no. Okay. That has to do with, if I remember correctly, like let's say you told the seller that if you find the buyer yourself and there's no buyer's agent, that you're going to give them a deal and lower the commission. And if that's the case, and then you have a variable compensation, and then you would put yes there. But in this particular case, we're putting no. And okay, so here's the important part here. So how does the agent actually access the information for your property? In other words, the showing information for the property. Okay. So this is something that everybody has a different style on, but this is how I teach it, because my whole thing is this. I want every agent that comes to my listing to press the showing time button. The showing time button's a little symbol at the very top that tells them the showing instructions. Okay. And I don't like to tell them too much information prior to them pressing that button, because if I make them press the button, I get all that agent's information. I get a text message saying that an agent has asked for showing instructions, and I want to get that. And I also don't want to give them information that might dissuade them from showing my property. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So if you look at this yellow box here, we got to tell these people something. So imagine if you told the agent that, let's say that for your listing, that you have to have 24-hour notice, it's appointment only, and you have to call the listing agent. Okay. If you're the agent representing the buyer, when you see this stuff, you're like, oh man, like, let's say you have 7 properties you have to show that day. So you're looking up all the properties, and then you get to your listing, and I'm like, dang, man, I got to freaking do a 24-hour notice. I got to do appointment only. I got to call a listing agent. And that's prior to me even pressing the showing time button that you're giving me this information. I don't like doing that, because I don't want to dissuade them from pressing the button, even if those things are true, right? So they can press the showing time button, and I can tell them that information after they press the button, because I'll already have their info. So I don't tell them things like that. So if it's an annoying one where you have to give 24-hour notice and blah, 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 and call the manager, blah, blah, okay, then I don't do that. I don't tell them that. All I go down here and do is I say, use showing time button. Okay. So let's say, once again, I do have to make an appointment and all that stuff. What I do is I say use showing time button, and then I go ahead and I go in here, and then I say all that stuff. All right. Call listing agent, 24-hour notice, whatever the case may be. Okay. So that's how I do that. But even regardless, even if it's not, even if it's vacant on electronic lockbox, like if it's something good, lockbox electronic, you can say that, beforehand. But once again, I just have them press the showing time button. If it gives me the option of saying that the home is vacant, I do say that, because that's always attractive. I love seeing a vacant property, but most of the time I use showing time button. So if I click showing time button, what it does is it makes them have to go press that button, and I get all their information, and I can just say, I usually write something, very attractive, like vacant and easy to show, on electronic lockbox, show anytime. Okay. Now, here's the deal. If you have any special instructions, this is where you'll want to put it too. So let's say there's a dog in there Don't let the dog out, don't let the cat out, or make sure you put the alarm on, or here's the code to the alarm. This is where all of this information will go, because they're going to press that button and they're going to get that information exclusively to them. Okay, so just letting you know about that. Once again, use showing time button. If you feel like letting them know that it's on a combo lockbox and electronic lockbox, you can. But once again, I'm more concerned that they just press this button so I can get their information, and then I can tell them all that in there. Okay, moving on. So this little section here, all you need to know is you need to put yes on all of these. Okay, so this is basically asking you, are you willing to put all the information about this property on all the websites that are available to us, including homes.com, homesnap, realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, and 200 other websites that are out there. And I don't want to eliminate any of the information that's out there, like show property address on internet. If I put no, it won't show the address on the internet. I want them to see all the information online, because I already have the listing, right? They can't go around me. I have the listing. I want everybody to see my listing right now. I usually click yes for the virtual tour here. And then we get to this very, very important part, which is the public remarks. So this public remarks is what the world is seeing about your property, okay? You're gonna wanna have a very good description here of what your property offers. And when I say that, once again, everybody has a different style for this, but this is the way that I teach it, okay? You don't wanna write a whole novel, first and foremost, right? So sometimes you get to these descriptions and they're like, 3 paragraphs long, okay? You don't wanna do that. I say keep it concise but impactful. And by impactful, I mean is when I write these, I say, at this point when you're inputting the listing, you will have visited this property. If you're a good agent, you will have driven around the area. You know what's close to it. You know what makes this property attractive. You've driven around the community. Maybe it's one of these communities that has a great community pool and amenities and all these different things and just special things about it. Maybe it's close to these parks. Maybe it's close to UCF. Maybe it's just a great price for an incredible home in a great neighborhood. I think when I look at that property is who would be my most likely, who would be the most likely buyer for this? Is it going to be a student who wants to go to UCF? Is it going to be a family? Is this, a great, first home, or whatever the case may be? And I kind of picture what their mindset is and what they would want to hear. I avoid doing this written tour of the property. A lot of people do this whole thing like, oh, when you walk through the foyer, you see these expanding ceilings and they're 14.7 inches high, and the cabinets in the kitchen are 42.3 inches, and then you just get into this whole list of stuff that nobody can really visualize or care about. I'm looking more of, is this a great price property? Our properties going fast in this neighborhood? Is this property updated? Man, if this property has a new roof, I better say that, right? Because that, the two major expenses that people are going to really look at is this: how old is the AC? How old is the roof, right? So if it has a new AC and new roof, man, I want that front and center, in my description. Is the home great for entertaining? I mean, when you walked into this home, did you were like, wow, like, you could have some really amazing pool parties out here, or wow, this kitchen, like, is incredible for somebody who likes to cook and entertain. Man, this kitchen's incredible. Like, when I see those things, those are the things that I highlight in there. So I have a home here in South Downtown. Great price for a, and sometimes I do cap locks for stuff that I think is important. Newly remodeled home in South Downtown Orlando. And then I might put Soto in case people recognize Soto. I might go new roof and new AC in 2019. Huge backyard, perfect for entertaining. Or pets. you know. And so I'm writing this description like that, just basically thinking, okay, what's great about this property? You know, new granite countertops in the kitchen, you know, whatever. And I just kind of tell them what's great about it. You know, and you know, in my case in South Downtown, minutes from the heart of downtown with amazing dining and entertainment, you know, things like that. So when somebody's moving into this area, I need them to know that there's awesome things close. And in my case, they're also close to the 408. I would put in here. I would put close to I-4, close to the heart of downtown. Great dining, great shopping, new roof, new AC remodeled, huge backyard, like all the special things about this property. So I would make this longer than this. I'm not going to keep going with that because I don't want to make this video forever. But once again, I would do one kind of impactful, powerful paragraph that if I read it, I would know like some really important things about this property. So once again, avoid this whole like and as you walk into the living room to your right, you're going to see the dining room. Like, dude, let the pictures tell the story. Let them go to the property and see all that. I need you to sell them on what's fantastic about this home. Okay. So I hope got that message through to you. They got Spanish public remarks if you want to do that. That's not a bad idea if you have the ability to do that. Okay, realtor only remarks. Okay, realtor only remarks are only visible by the realtor. So this is where you can tell the realtor some special instructions. Okay, so usually what I put here is I'll put that all offers should be emailed to my email with accompanied by a proof of funds or a pre-approval letter. Okay, so I just give them simple instructions like that. Okay, I also put the title company information. So in this case, I would put title company, you know, Celebration Title Group, my contact there. And I would put, you know, our contact there is BB Ortiz. You put that in there because here's the deal. You know, when somebody wants to write a contract, I mean, you've probably been there. Some of you guys have written contracts and you're always like, well, who's the title company? Well, the seller chooses the title company, which means usually it's us, the listing agent, that chooses. If you list a property with us, you should be thinking about Celebration Title Group. They're our partner. They fund a lot of our events and our culture. So we want to make sure we put Celebration Title Group's information in there. So I usually put Celebration Title Group. I put, you know, contact BB Ortiz, and I put her email, which is bb@celebrationtitlegroup.com, and I believe the phone number is 407-801-9776. Okay, so now they have all the information they need for the title company. Once again, you know, please submit all offers accompanied by proof of funds or pre-approval letter to Bobby at orlandopropertyexpert.com. Okay. And I can also alert them to the fact that, remember I told you guys, when you get a listing, you should have them fill out a seller's disclosure, right? And if there's a homeowners association, you should have them fill out a homeowners association disclosure. If the property was built before 1978, you should have the seller fill out a lead-based paint disclosure. So if you've done all that work ahead of time, I'll show you in a second where you can attach those documents to the listing. So the buyer's agent can just download them and submit you an offer with all those things signed. Okay. So if I have that, I will also put something like C, attached disclosures. Just reminding them, hey, I took the time to attach these things. You don't have to email me or call me to ask me for the seller's disclosure. It's all there. Okay. That's what you use the real marks for, and if there's anything, once again, special that you want to tell them, maybe it's you want to reiterate that there's an alarm on the property and want to reiterate the code or whatever, you can do it here. But once again, you should also have that in the showing instructions over here with the showing time instructions, okay? And then, unfortunately, we still have to write out directions. I don't, to the property. So here's where you have to write out the directions. So they don't have to be too detailed, I'll put like literally from I-4 East, take the Michigan exit, and, go east on Michigan. And then I'll say, make a left on Marlboro Street and property will be on your left. Like I keep it very simple. So don't spend like 16 paragraphs doing a description of how to get there. Most people are using their GPS and they just don't use this. I don't know. It's kind of like an ancient relic of the listing process. Okay. Okay. So we're good here. Okay. So if I save this as incomplete, okay. So let's say I save this as incomplete just to show you the rest of this. Okay. Remember, once I press this, my clock starts. Okay. Now, this is not one that I'm actually listing, so I'm okay with that. But just know that, once again, guys, if you're going to be listing a property, make sure that you're ready with all your information and that property goes live that very day, because your days on the market start the minute I press this button right here. Okay. So again, your listing has been successfully saved as incomplete. It's giving me an MLS number. It's done. My clock started. Okay. Now we can continue editing the listing. Obviously, I wasn't done filling out all the information. Okay. So I can continue editing, but look here. Now I can add my photos right here. Add, edit photos. Okay. So I can go in here and add, edit my photos. This is where I go in and I can press here and I can upload all my photos here. Okay. I can browse and upload all my photos that I need to do that. Okay. I'm going to cancel that because I don't have any photos, because this is just an example. Okay. And then I told you that you can attach documents to your listing. Here's where you do it. Add, edit attachments. This is where you would put your seller's disclosure. This is where you would put your lead-based paint disclosure if you have one. This is where you would put your homeowners association disclosure if you have one. This is where you would put your condo association disclosure if you have one. This is where you would put condo documents if you had them. If you have a condo, you should be getting the condo docs, the rules and regulations for the condo. That's a good thing to attach here. If you have a floor plan, that's that is something that's valuable to people. A lot of times people are like, hey, do you happen to have a floor plan for this? If you happen to, why not attach it? It just makes you look great. It's more resources for that person. And so this is where you attach things that you need that agent to know about or sign or whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's pretty much it, right? So now I just want to show you that, okay, now I've saved this as incomplete. And if I get out of this now and I just go back to my add edit button, so I've done all the stuff that I need to do. Okay, when you're done, it'll say go ahead and go active with your listing. Okay, I'm not going to do that here because I don't have a listing to go active. But when you're done that listing where you were before, and this section here, it'll give you the option to make it go active. Okay. So let's say I have filled out all my information here. You see where it says submit listing here on the bottom? Submit listing. Now here's the cool part. It won't let you submit it if there's still information that has to be put in there, right? So it won't go live. Like it won't go live if you don't have any pictures in there. Okay. So it has a couple of places where it'll check you, right? And once again, if you press validate, once again, I press validate and it's going to tell me all the places where I need to fill in information. So this has all the checks and balances here, but I wanted to show you this. So let's go back to this so you can see where you, so now that I have the listing in there and I want to modify it, okay, I can go back in and there's my incomplete listing right here on 2316 Marlboro Street. I click on that again and it gives me the opportunity to either edit the rest of fill in the information. I can delete the incomplete status listing, which I'm about to do because this was just an example. And you'll see that it actually lets you schedule a virtual open house. Now, when we go back to doing stuff live, guys, there'll be a place there for you to input your scheduled open house time. Matter of fact, I'm going to click on this. Okay. So here's where you would schedule your open houses. So prior to you doing an open house, the first place that you want to put, your open house times is in here, because this, when you put it in the MLS, it's going to go to Zillow, it's going to go to realtor.com, it's going to go to all the places where people look to see if you have a scheduled open house. So I just wanted to show you that that's where you put your open houses. Okay. So just wanted to show you that this will be what it'll look like. Now, if I want to go back to edit my listing, I press that and bam, it takes me back to those tabs again. Okay. So this gives you a pretty good general overview of how to input your first listing. If you have any more questions, make sure you get with your coaches and have them help you tweak this up. But once again, make sure that when you input a listing that you're going live on that very day. Hope this helps, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.